back to my channel. Thank you for all your comments. I'll try and do another comments video another time, and I haven't forgotten that to do a video on special schools. Do let me know your comments on special school versus mainstream. Might take me a little bit of time before I get to that one. It's on a list of things to talk about. If I for whatever reason forget, do remind me, but I'll try my hardest to remember to do that at some point. But in this video, I wanted to really talk about what's happening with social services, because I have done some previous videos on this about my ongoing struggle, my ongoing battle with social services to get them to allow me to use my direct payments on a cleaner going forward when my dad can no longer do the cleaning for me, and also to sort of transition to that point where I will need someone to do the cleaning when my dad is no longer able to do it. I've been facing a really long battle with social services. The social worker that I had, who was up to no good really, I didn't get on with him from the start. He came across as very aloof and evasive, and if you ask me, he doesn't really understand autism. He's now referred me on to lifelong services. I don't know why I wasn't with lifelong services to begin with, because I should be, because autism is a lifelong condition. But anyhow, I wasn't. I was under a different branch of social services. Don't ask, it's very confusing. But he has now referred me on to lifelong services, so I'll be getting a new social worker, and I'm hoping that they will be more understanding about my need for a cleaner, because so far I've been declined a cleaner. And it's really strange, because I was told at the end of last year, first of all, he said right from the beginning that it was very unlikely I'd be able to use it on a cleaner, because the county council would likely come back and say that it's all about learning independence, and that I need to be taught how to clean, like to have a support worker to help me, to enable me to learn how to clean instead of having someone doing it for me, and all of that sort of nonsense. Of course, it's incredibly patronising. Only disabled people get that lecture about, dependency. It's incredibly patronising and paternalistic. They don't listen to what the disabled person actually needs, because obviously having a professional cleaner would actually facilitate and enable my independence. Like, loads of people have cleaners and they don't get this crap about dependency, and when you have an actual disability where you actually need one, only then you get this crap about dependency. It's absolute double standards, and it's all comes down to his ideological agenda about cutting support, because of course they don't want someone to say they need a professional cleaner, because that will show that they have a lifelong need. Whereas if they could say, oh, this person can learn how to be independent, then the support can be cut at a later date. So it's all about cuts. It's all ideologically driven. It's a load of absolute crap. I basically told him as such, because I do speak my mind. If someone says something which is a load of crap, I won't hesitate to tell them, and I think that probably put me off on a wrong foot. I'm not someone who can mask that tendency of my autism. Unfortunately, I do speak my mind. I can't hide it, and I probably do antagonise some people. There's nothing I can do about that, is there? It's just who I am. And anyway, these people do need to be told what's what, and I'm not going to shy away from doing that. Anyway, I didn't like him from the get-go. He was very evasive, and he said that, basically that it wasn't in their remit anyway. But I kept on going on about my need for a cleaner, and then I said I need a care assessment, I need a new care assessment. So he did a needs assessment, because I had one years back. He'd obviously already made up his mind that I wasn't going to get a cleaner a priori anyway. So I don't really see what the point of that needs assessment was anyway. But anyway, I then asked him again later on. I said, can I use it on a cleaner? And he said no. And I said, well, why not? And he didn't respond. He didn't give me an answer. I was like, well, why? And he didn't give me an answer for ages. And then he finally gave me an answer saying that because I can wash up the dishes, I might be able to learn how to clean. I might be able to, because I can wash up the dishes and do some limited sort of ad hoc sweeping up in the kitchen, that therefore with support I might have the potential to learn how to clean other parts. Completely not understanding the nature of my autism, where I tried to explain to him, it's such a waste of breath, I tried to explain to him how the issue was not about learning a skill, it's to do with executive dysfunction and the problems around energy use and the whole aspect of my autism where I'm incredibly driven by routines and very rigid, and how basically I find it really hard to do anything, to motivate myself to do anything like cleaning. It's got nothing to do with skills. It's got to do with executive dysfunction, the whole aspect of autism where you're driven towards special interests and get distracted and can't focus on things, which is a lifelong problem. A support worker isn't going to be able to solve that. All that will happen is I'll spend hours with a support worker getting really, really stressed because their presence in and of itself will be absolutely unbearable, particularly with my OCD as it is at the present. And I don't know when that's going to go. But even supposing COVID buggered off and my OCD kind of miraculously improved and I allowed a support worker to come in the house with me, and COVID wasn't a thing, just taking that out of the equation for the moment, I would just be so distracted by their presence, because this is what's happened before, and it's you spend hours with them and nothing gets done. And that amount of time I could be using on productive stuff, on my interests and other things. If I was basically, if to get a tiny bit of cleaning done is basically expecting me to be tied to the sink or the bath, to do a tiny bit of cleaning with a support worker, taking away my independence, when that time could be spent on genuine stuff like my voluntary activities, all of that stuff, which also takes up energy. And that tiny amount of cleaning will be making me I'll be using up so much energy on that, and I need so much time to recover because of the nature of my autism and how much it's such a processing demand. I won't be able to do anything else. I go to bed ridiculously early as it is anyway, precisely because of my processing demands of life are so much for me. I literally reach overwhelm so quickly. This social worker just does not get it. And I tried to explain this to him, and he still did not get it. So finally, when I got an answer, he said it's because I can clean the dishes. Apparently that means I could do other stuff. I said to him, have you not heard of a spiky profile? Because clearly he hadn't. And just because you could do one area doesn't mean it could generalise out to another area. And also, I said you need autism awareness training. I said you and your team need autism awareness training. I was quite abrupt to him in my email because I was so angry. I said, how dare you? How dare you tell me it's to do with independence when you're trying to take away my independence? And I also said, you need to go on autism awareness training. And I said, you are basically saying you know more about my needs than myself, than my dad, than the worker from Autism Sussex, who knows me really well, and she was saying how much I needed a cleaner. I was basically saying, you're so arrogant, you think you know more than me and these other people, when I've only had like 5 or 6 sessions. He hasn't got back to me since, by the way, but I was so angry, I let it all out in an email. I'm glad I did, because he was crossing a psychological boundary, that twat, and he really needed addressing down. The other thing that was, and thankfully I won't be seeing his face again, and hopefully a new social worker will be a lot more understanding because they're from lifelong services, but I am going to be getting an advocate to carry on fighting this because it's really out of order, and I know I'm jolly well am entitled to a cleaner, and is this just like Tory ideology? That's all it is, Tory ideology, and I'm not putting up with it. And and after all, what is direct payments if it's not meant to be about giving you choice and control? If it's not about giving you choice and control, then what is it? It's no better than the old system. They say it's all about choice and control, that the disabled person now could choose what service best meets their needs. And I know that having a professional cleaner would better meet my needs than having a support worker help me on that area. I still need a support worker, but they will be better put to use, helping me with areas that I can genuinely gain more independence in. Like with this whole COVID fiasco, I need to relearn how to go out and stuff. That will be a better use of their time, and a cleaner can then do that, and do the cleaning. And also, like, trying to get a cleaner to do that is an independent skill in and of itself. Speaking to them on the phone, that's all independence. So it just doesn't make sense. It's like, it's not listening to what disabled people say they actually need. It's disgusting. It's this whole top-down crap telling you about, and then he was giving me his whole crap about how, I could spend my disability benefits on it. But it's a disability need. Like, I get disability benefits, but I also get social care. I'm also eligible for social care services. It's like if I wasn't eligible for social care services, maybe, but I've got an eligible need for social care services, so that means they need to provide what is a social care need, because otherwise I wouldn't be eligible, would I? Like lots of people get disability benefits who aren't eligible for social care, but because I'm more disabled and just a little bit disabled, I'm eligible for social care, so that means they should be providing this service, and after all, what is direct payments if not a disability payment anyway? And they could equally say that I could spend the direct payments on I could equally say that I could spend my disability benefit money on a support worker, and that they're not going to provide any service at all. What is the point of social services if they're not going to provide a service? Because they're not helping me, they're getting in the way of what I need. Anti-social workers, it doesn't make sense at all. Direct payments is an absolute scam. It was introduced by the Tory government, bringing choice, flexibility and control, lovely progressive sounding language. What? No choice, flexibility and control? Nothing. It's not fair. It's an absolute lie. Absolute lie. You know, Emperor's New Clothes situation. But when you say it's a lie, you get the whole cold shoulder shit going on because they don't want to admit it's a lie, but it is a lie. And what am I trying to say? Anyway, the other thing that was really rather strange was that he claimed that in my specialist assessment from 2018, when I had a cognitive assessment, he claimed that all my needs were in there and that they were like justifying what he said about me not needing a cleaner. So again, I got out my file and I read it and I was like, well, this is funny. There's nothing in here to justify what he's saying. So either he's been twisting the words in the document or he's not read it properly. I'm going to read to you the document in the next video and I want you to see if there's anything in there that justifies me not getting a cleaner, because that support worker doesn't know his arse from his elbow and I think he's actually lying to me. And I seriously am going to be complaining. I actually said in that email I'm actually going to be complaining because I think it's absolutely disgusting. But anyway, moving over to video number 2 now.